much. Thanks. Okay, so when Anna was first organising this event, she sent me a quick message and asked if I wanted to talk, to which I said, yeah, what do you want me to talk about? Anything in particular? And she said maybe leadership. And I thought, brilliant, I do that kind of for a living. I'm a Scrum Master, I am a servant leader, that's pretty much perfect. Ooh, I'll not turn that way again. So first thing I did was a quick Google search, which we'll go into in a minute. But first, can I just ask, has everyone heard of servant leadership? Quick raise of the hands. I won't do this the whole way through, I promise. Who thinks that they are in kind of a servant leadership role now, that they are a servant leader? Yeah, quite a good number of us. I think one of the first things to say is that you don't have to be a manager or in a leadership role to be a servant leader. I think that's quite an important thing. If you are, I don't know, a developer, a junior, and anyone, you can use the traits of a servant leadership to make you better at your role and to make you better in your team. Just in case anyone thought this wasn't for you, it's for everyone. So, servant leadership, quick Google search, what comes up? Oh. So servant leadership is a philosophy and set of practices that enriches the lives of individuals, builds better organisations, and ultimately creates a more just and caring world. Okay. So who still thinks they're a servant leader? I read this and thought, oh God. I mean, we'll replace world with maybe like team or or organisation. I think the world's maybe a bit big for this event. This is just we'll aim for Yorkshire as a big. So, yeah, me too. So the next part of my Google search was to have a look at, okay, so what actually is a servant leader? How do I do servant leadership? And I came across, I think it said like there were 11 traits, of which I've picked a few. I've not picked all 11 because some didn't quite fit with what I do in my team, so I couldn't relate to them all. I think it depends kind of what role you do, like what traits you use. So I've picked a few, and hopefully you can like relate to them. Hopefully some of them you already do, or you feel like you could do a bit better, or it gives you a bit of inspiration. If just one person gets one idea, I think that I've maybe succeeded. So, okay, so the first was a calling. Can someone nod at me if I stand in front of the projector? Because my pictures are basically where all of my humour comes from. So, a calling. Do people believe you are willing to sacrifice self-interest for the good of the group? This does not mean, as the image depicts, being trampled over by everyone, but this is you do things for the good of the group instead of for the good of yourself. Sometimes it might mean that you're willing to take the flak for something. So I don't know if anyone's ever been in a situation where you say, we're going to go live with this thing. Should we go live with this thing? And you say to the team, all right, we'll go live with it. If it goes wrong, I'll take that. It's on me. It's my responsibility. Just go. That is self-sacrifice for the good of the team. So you're sort of putting yourself on the line there. You're willing to put your reputation or get in trouble or whatever for the team. You'll notice in all of these slides it says, "Do people believe you are?" Not "Do you believe you are?" So I think there is a difference there. So I think some of us might think that people think that we do things, but whether they actually do or not is completely different. Maybe, try asking people, or get someone else to ask on your behalf, so it's not quite as like, do you think I do this? I do, don't I? I do. Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Okay, awareness. Do others believe you have a strong awareness for what is going on? So if someone were to ask you about something that someone else in the team is doing right now, do you know what they're doing? Do you know why they're doing it? Do you know how they're getting on with it? This sort of, you can't know the intricate ins and outs, the detail of what everyone is doing all the time, but are you aware of what's going on? If someone comes up to you and asks you a question about the team, can you give them a good enough answer without having to go and ask someone, sorry, where are you with that thing? I mean, asking for details is fine, but are you aware in general? Listening. Do people believe you want to hear their ideas and will value them? So I think this is quite a big one for me. I think there's a difference between just like listening to someone's idea and really like taking it on board and using it, and sort of championing that idea on their behalf. Sometimes people might give you an idea and it's a good idea, but they might not be in a position themselves to make that happen. And it's part of your job as a servant leader to take that idea and to put it into practice, if you like. So I don't know how many people have ever been in a situation where they've had a boss or a manager, and you've, in a one-to-one, you've sort of discussed with them some ideas and things you want to do, and then suddenly a few months later it's happening, but no one's ever said that it was your idea. It's like, your boss has done it, and aren't they awesome for doing that? And you're like, I'm sure, I suggested that a couple of months ago. So if you are going to listen and take on someone's idea, make sure you champion in that it is their idea. I think it doesn't make you look any worse of a person if you're saying, team are going to try this, and it's Bob's fantastic idea, and we're really going to do it. And when you're celebrating that it's worked, you're making sure that Bob gets all the credit for it. But maybe protect Bob if it all goes to shit. It was all Bob's idea. It's got nothing to do with me. I don't know. He said he wanted to do it. We did it. It went wrong. So persuasion. This is like a classic like management out of a book thing, isn't it? So are people doing what you're asking because they want to, or because you're telling them to? I mean, I have had the conversation before where I've asked someone to do something and they've said, are you asking me or telling me? And I have had to say, I'm telling you, because like, everyone's different, right? So you get people that are going to argue doing like there's shit work to do all the time, and you've got to take it in turns to do the shit work. So sometimes, you do just have to tell someone to do something, but with most of it, it's persuasion. So it's explaining why you're doing the piece of work. So if you've got like a load of text changes to the website and all the developers are going, oh god, I hate text changes, it's really boring, then explain the reason that we're doing it. So we've had a load of customers that don't understand their bill, for example. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the wording around this area so that we get less calls. And then the developer does the text changes, and then we can follow that up with, because of that thing that you did, we're now getting this many fewer calls into the call centre. You've done an awesome job. So it's less of a sort of grunt work and more of a, this is why I've done it. In reality, you don't have the time to explain that for every single tiny piece of work. I get that, but it is nice sort of in general to be explaining that sort of thing. The classic picture of a tiny seedling and hands. So do people believe you are committed to helping them grow and develop? So when Bob has his idea, are you just flat out, we'll do that for you? Or are we saying, okay, you've had this idea to do this thing, but how about if we do it in that way? And then you're involved in this way. So instead of just sort of blindly taking it away from Bob, he is, I don't know why Bob, I don't know Bob, he is growing and developing, he's getting better at what he's doing. Next time he comes to you with an idea, he might not come to you with an idea, he might start making that happen on his own. He might come up with a sort of a slightly different idea or tweak it as he goes along, because you've helped him along that path. And people need to believe that when they come to you with an idea or a problem, you're helping them, and that way they're going to come to you again. Instead of, like the person that steals your idea, you're never going to go to them again. You lose that trust. Empathy. Do people believe you will understand what is happening in their lives and how it affects them? So I think empathy is one that sort of women tend to do better, and like in general, I am generalising, but women tend to be better at the empathy thing. So we tend to understand that that person is stressed, they might be upset, or that person has just had a new baby, so they might be tired, and that's going to make them more anxious, and that's going to. So we're better at that kind of thing in general. And I think one of the things with empathy is to realise it's not particularly putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's more like, because those person's shoes are different to yours. I'm going to go into some like weird shoe analogy. I don't know, but the way that you react to a problem is going to be different to the way that someone else reacts to a problem. So if I've got like a massive like ton of work to do and a huge list of stuff, and people interrupting me all the time, I might, let's like make out that I'm really good at my job. Like, so I might have a good to-do list, and I've got it prioritised, and I know what I'm going to do. And if someone comes and speaks to me, I'm still fine with that, and I might know where to prioritise things and where not to prioritise things, and what can be left till next month. someone else with that exact same list of stuff to do might get like completely flustered, like be having a bit of a breakdown. They might not know what they're doing. So it's that don't put yourself in their shoes. Like really pay attention to the way that they're reacting and how they might be feeling in whatever situation they're in. Mystic Meg. I got a bit nostalgic when I found this picture. I was like going to come up with a little quote, but I couldn't think of anything that sounded good. So do others have confidence in your ability to anticipate the future and consequences? So this isn't like the first example I could think of when I saw this was a kind of person that when, you know, if you want to do something different in the team, so like I remember a while ago, like the team wanted to work Kanban and we were currently Scrum, and we'd had sprints and they said, we want to work Kanban, and someone said, oh, well, we tried that last year and it didn't work, so we're not doing it. So anticipating the future and the consequences isn't about saying, well, we've tried that before and this is what happened, so let's not bother. It's about saying, we've tried that before and this is what happened, so what can we do to stop that happening this time, or what's different this time that means that's not going to happen again. Let's not like repeat our mistakes, instead of sort of flat out being like, been there, done that, this is going to be the exact same. So yes, it's letting people know like what might happen. Like the next person to win the lottery is going to have dark hair and the name's going to begin with A. So anyone in the room buy a lottery ticket? Community building. Do people feel a strong sense of community in your organisation or team? I quite like this one because I think it's one of the ones that maybe I'm actually good at compared to the others. So I think if you're setting that example of being empathetic and being there to talk to and championing people's ideas, and you're really there for people, then other people do the same because they see how it's working for you, and then they start acting the same, and then suddenly everyone's doing stuff for everyone else and everyone's supporting each other's ideas and helping them grow, and it's a beautiful place to be. So I think one of the ways of measuring this, we do like we ask the team how they're feeling like every couple of months. We do a bit of a health check in our retros, and you can see how they're feeling kind of in the company-wide, and you can compare that against how they're feeling like team-wide, and our team are quite good sort of team-wise. We've got a good team morale. We all go out together, we go for payday lunches. We're quite good at, you know, if we've got a problem, people are quite good at putting their hand up, and it means when you've got new people that come in, they kind of they absorb that and they become that person as well, no matter sort of whether, you know, you get the people that come in and they're a bit like, if I ask for help, it's going to look like I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't tell anyone that I don't know what I'm doing. But because everyone else that's been there for ages is like, I've not got a fucking clue what's going on here, what the hell is that? Like, suddenly it's all right for everyone to do that. So, nice. Healing. This is a little sad one. Do people come to you when the chips are down? So, work isn't always a barrel of laughs. Sometimes it gets on top of people. Sometimes people have got too much on. Sometimes it's not work stuff. Sometimes it's home stuff. And I'm not saying that like you're a counsellor and you've got to be there for everyone all the time with all their problems. Like, you know, go up to your work colleagues and go, like, what's going on at home? I need to know. Is everything okay? Anything I can help you with? Anything going wrong? No? Because you need to tell me, otherwise I'm not a good servant leader. So if people automatically are coming to you because you're helping them out and you are that supportive person and you are empathetic, then you're doing a better job. It's not something that you can actively go out and do. It's something that sort of happens naturally over time, but if it's happening, you're doing good. What doesn't it mean? So it doesn't mean, I don't know about any of you, but this is something that I do. I do all the work no one else wants to do. I never get to do anything exciting, interesting, or new because, like, I'm giving all the exciting, interesting, and new stuff to other people to do because I'm helping them to grow. So I'll take all the crap off them so they've got the time to do all the good stuff, because I'm that kind of person. I do a little bit of everyone's job, so I just do all the crap, basically. This bucket was originally going to be a bucket full of crap. But I decided that wasn't a really nice visual, so I just went for a bucket instead. I'll let you all paint the image with your minds. Okay, so some good examples of servant leaders. Again, if you Google good examples of servant leaders, it's pretty. But then, I wasn't expecting my face to show up, so I suppose this time you get Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and me. maybe next time. But so here's a bad example. It's a good-looking glass of wine, right? So I think this is like a self-help thing, right? Here's all the things I do wrong. So I do all the work that people don't want to do. I do the crap stuff, like raising change requests and timesheets and stuff that like no one else wants to do. And so I'm sort of trying to free up time for them by doing it. And I think some of it is like I want to be liked, and I want people when they talk about me as a Scrum Master, I want them to be like, Sarah's so useful. It means that we get to do our jobs, and like she's empowering us. And I think like my interpretation of that has been that I take on all this crap, so that people are like, oh, Sarah's amazing. Like when she's not here, we really struggle because we've got to do all that crap ourselves. So today they're all doing it themselves. I've done it in a change freeze as well, so there's like loads of exceptions to raise and stuff. It's good timing. So I think there's quite a lot there. Like all of those points, I think there's quite a lot to take on. Like hopefully some of them are ones where you're like, yeah, I do that already, or yeah, I could do that, but I could maybe like add a little layer on. So I did like a little. These are like the main ones that I thought when I went through. These are the ones that like I've taken away that like I'm going to work on. So listening to others and really being there when you listen to people. I don't know, like, so anyone that works at Sky, I'm sorry if I've ever done this to you, but I've got this really bad habit of like, if someone talks to me and either I've kind of not got time because I'm really busy and say, oh, let's do this, and I feel free to use this. I go, okay. Like if you laugh and say okay at the same time, looks like you've listened to what they're saying. They're hilarious, but they stop. So I'm going to try and like take on board a little bit more what people are actually saying to me, and whether they have actually got a good idea that we can use as a team and move onwards with. And I'm going to try and actually be there and take myself away from whatever it is I'm doing that's distracting me from making me a horrible person. I'm going to try and empathise a little bit more. So again, I think people have different situations at home. People handle things differently, and I think it is a common thing to just presume that everyone's going to handle something the same as you. I know how I'd handle something. When a bit like this has got nothing to do with this, but I had a friend that had like quite a bad breakup recently, and I was going through a breakup at the same time, and I just said to her, well, why don't you just like stop thinking about it, just get over it. It's fine, like let's just go have some wine, it's not a problem, just move on. It was quite easy for me to do, but it wasn't quite so easy for her to do. So it's kind of different people do handle things completely differently, and I think I need to realise that a bit more. Looking ahead while being aware of the present, I think it's very difficult to do both of those things at the same time. To be really aware of everything that's going on, and not the nitty gritty, but to really feel like you are properly aware of what's going on at the same time as thinking about how that might progress. I think is quite a big thing, and something I could do a little bit better. And persuasion, I think, as I said earlier, sometimes I do just say, we just need to get it done. Just do it, okay? Just do it. And I think if I explained a bit more, that might improve the morale in the team and make that a bit better. So I'm gonna try explaining myself a bit more. Top tips. So these are some pitfalls I think everyone's at danger of when doing this kind of thing. So being willing to sacrifice yourself doesn't mean not caring about yourself, your career, or your work-life balance. I think it's easy when you're doing that, I'm going to self-sacrifice myself for the team. I think it's easy to think that is maybe like, oh, there's a promotion, there's a job coming up. It's really, really good, but I'm going to help this person go into it because I'm going to help them grow and develop, instead of maybe going for that yourself, or taking on so much stuff from the team that actually you're working loads of hours and you're not looking after yourself, and then you become miserable in your job, and then everyone's got to do all that stuff anyway. Importantly, I think listening, empathizing, and being there doesn't mean solving everyone's problems. So I think there's a risk if you've got this, people coming to you because they're stressed, or people might come to you because there's something going on at home, they're not talking to you because they want you to solve their problem. Sometimes it's just like getting it out and making someone aware. So depends how you feel about people. Like some people are more comfortable than others having those kind of conversations. But if someone is kind of offloading at you, sometimes it's literally just offloading, and you're not there to solve it. You might be there to find someone else that can step in and help, but like don't worry about actually solving the problem. My final slide, I managed to get the Spice Girls on. Yes. I showed my boyfriend this, and he was like, "What's that got to do with Spice Girls?" There's spice. There's spice right there. God's sake. And they sung "Stop Right Now," which is what I'm going to do in a minute. So I think it's it's important to. I'm not going to sing. Jesus. I won't put you through that. So even though I've said all this stuff, I think there's not like a one size fits all, and it's important to know that it depends on the team you're in. Like we're all in different teams, most of us, and each of our teams works differently. The dynamics is slightly different. What is required from a servant leader is different in every team that you're in. It would depend on your job. So I'm presuming that most of us here are like tech, but you get servant leaders everywhere. So it depends on the way. I mean, like if I was like an awesome servant leader in my job, and then like I applied for Gandhi's job, who knows? I'm pretty confident my skill set's not quite going to fit in. And it depends on the situation. It depends what you're working on, what the stress levels are like, who's in your team, all this stuff. There's loads of different things to do. But I think if you can just like pick out a few things to improve on, like we're all agile, right? So we're not going to try and do it big bang. We're going to like do it iteratively. Get it? Agile. Ta-da! So yeah, if you can just pick like one or two things, or even like do your own Google search, because this is literally what this was. Question time. So that's it. That's awesome. Thank you.